Okay, IED, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing activity 1.2.4, the fundamentals of dimensioning. Our goals today is to try to identify errors and omissions in multi-view drawings, generate an annotated multi-view drawing using CAD software. We've already learned how to do that. Give and receive feedback to influence personal and professional development. That means good, positive feedback. And in Onshape, it says Fusion 360, but we're going to use Onshape to, make sure that we know how to create and edit a sketch and create a multi-view drawing using the base and the projected views. And we're going to learn how to add annotations to a drawing as well too. Some of the resources that you guys have available to you is you have the isometric graph paper, you have orthographic graph paper, and there's going to be a dimensioning flowchart which would give you a general idea on where you want to put dimensions inside of a drawing, but I'll go ahead and I'll give you information about that too. So we figured out that we can make a multi-view object of, or a multi-view drawing of an object, and it will give a better sense of the dimensions of that object. Now, what we want to do is, since we've got the multi-views set up from it, we want to create measurements that will tell people exactly how far they need to go to make this object. So if I'm looking at this isometric view of this object right here, I want to know, like, well, how long is this? How deep is this? How wide is it? How tall is it? And we can use what are called dimension lines, which are lines that have a number in the middle of it with two arrows sticking out to the left and to the right. And then we put some baselines to, or extension lines to go towards where our left and our right side or our top and our bottom is, wherever we're trying to find the distance between them. Um, and if it doesn't go straight across like this, for example, if you're drilling a hole, we can have a line that goes straight into it like this as well too. So I'm going to show you guys basically how to do this in Onshape, and we'll be using our construction block parts, I believe. So in class, what we're going to do is we're going to use the flowchart to check and make sure that all of these dimensions are done properly and correctly. And after we do that, we're going to continue moving on to the next one. So let's just kind of take a look right here in some of the guidelines that we need whenever we're making dimension lines, because you shouldn't just put all of the dimension lines in there. Like, you don't want to fill up this entire room space right here if you don't have to. And notice there's also a view missing. If you can get all of the dimensions in reasonably on two views, you don't have to make the third view. It's not necessary in order to be able to see the part. Like, for example, this top part is just going to be a rectangle, and this notch is already taken care of by saying that this notch is 1.5 units in and then half a unit deep. These are probably in inches, so 1.5 inches across and half an inch down, and that's enough dimensional information to be able to take this notch and cut it out. So we're going to try to go through here and we're going to see what's going on here. All right, so the completed multi-view drawing is going to look like this, okay? And then the next thing we need to do is we need to count the number of features that occur on the object, okay? And the number of features is going to be like a notch is a feature on an object, okay? The hole is something that we did to create the object, so the hole is the second one. And the third feature is just going to be the large block itself. This is going to be what we actually started with. So there are three features that we're going to have to dimension in order to create this object. Like, we have to know the basic dimensions of the block to start with. We have to know how big of a hole we're going to drill. And we also have to know how big of a notch we're going to need to take out of this. Okay? And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to select the best view to represent each feature. So on the bottom left one, the notch is going to be the uh, the best view is going to be the front, because you can see this notch right here. But if I look at the right side, the notch is really hard to see. And then from the top, the notch is also really hard to see. So when we're dimensioning this notch, we want to use this bottom left view. Okay, so we're going to put in our dimensions here, And for the depth of it, we can put our dimension for the 1 inch deep across on this side. This would be the side view, and then this would be the front view. For the next part, um, is every feature fully dimensioned? And right now the answer is no, it's not. So we still have to do the whole. So we're going to go back and we're going to select the view for the whole. The best one is going to be the bottom right or the right side view. And then we're going to dimension that hole. And we can dimension that by noting how wide the hole is and how far the hole actually goes through. In this case, it goes all the way through. So we're going to need to dimension the fact that we have a diameter, which is going to be, looks like it's a 1/4 inch diameter, and it goes all the way through. So I'm going to put 3 inches right there. We can use both the, we can use both we can use 3 for the depth of the hole, and we can also use it for the width of the object as well too. So you can kind of double dip in that fashion, and it'll be okay. You don't have to have 3 up here and then put 3 down here. Um, Also, it's generally a good idea to try to get all your numbers in on the plus. Like if you can think about having a plus sign in the middle of the page, you want to try to get all your numbers in here. That is not always possible. Like for example, you can see like down here, there's a dimension line as well too. You don't have to. Uh, that's not a hard and fast rule. So, but just try to get most of your numbers on this plus sign right here. This is going to be your best space to be able to put dimensions for it. Okay, and then, well, we've got the notch and we've got the dimensions of the hole, but we don't have all of the dimensions of the block yet. So what we need to do is we need to pick the best view for the block, and it looks like the best view is going to be the front side, it looks like. We're going to have a front side here, and the secondary view for it would probably be this side over here. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we have the width, the depth, and the height of the block actually put in. And once we have the width, the depth, and the height of the block put in, then we can put our numbers in there. Okay, and then we double check and make sure that we have all of them. And the answer is yeah, we've got all of the numbers now to be able to fully create this object. And then the next thing we need to do is, does every view have a dimension on it? And the answer is in this case, no, this top view doesn't have any dimensions on it because it wasn't really that useful to us. So if it's not that useful, we can actually delete this top view entirely. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to remove that top view, and that's how we're going to do it. Okay. Um, so what we're going to do for this for part one is we're going to go to Onshape and we're going to sign in and we're going to use our assembly blocks that we've already made. With those assembly blocks, we're going to be creating a dimensioned chart from it. So I'm going to show you guys how to create a dimensioned chart. I'm going to go ahead and get myself logged in here. All right, I'm going to go to the IED practice stuff that we've done. We should have our assembly blocks in here. Looking for it. Let's see here. I've got a bunch of like this. This is starting to fill up a lot. So why don't we building blocks? There it is. So I'm going to click on the building blocks or construction blocks. We may have called it one or the other. But this should be the file that has all of the different blocks inside. So I'm going to take the arch, probably be a good example to draw. So I'm going to take the arch and we're going to create a drawing of this arch, a multi-view drawing of the arch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the plus sign down here in the bottom left that says Insert New Element, and then I'm going to click on Create Drawing. When I click on Create Drawing, it's going to give me a whole lot of different options that we can use. For right now, just go ahead and click the OK button, and I'll show you guys how to do the rest of that part later. Actually, I may have lied to you. I think there may be an easier way to do this because there was a 4 view option on there. I may have goofed up. There could have been a much easier way to do this. Let me go backwards for a second. So I'm going to delete this drawing. Boop. And I'm going to try to create it again, but I'm going to create it with the 4 views instead. I'm going to click on Arch. I'm going to click the plus sign, and I'm going to click Create Drawing. So there is a button over here that says, oh, never mind, I can't click on it. Never mind. We're just going to click on No Views and then click OK. I'm going to let it load. And when it loads up, there should be an option in the top left corner that says Insert, if the shape doesn't already show itself. And it looks like, in my case, it just goes ahead and loads it and says, hey, there's a bunch of shapes that you can use. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to pick the arch. That's the one that we used. So I'm going to pick it. And what it does is it's going to bring out this rectangle. This is going to be the front view of the object. And if you let it load for a little bit, you should be able to see that this is going to be the front view of the object. Um, find a place, kind of, not like in the very corner. Don't go all the way down here. But find a place, kind of in the bottom left, in this quadrant, and click. Okay, now it's really important that you just click once and then let it load. And then once it forms into its shape, move the mouse over to the left and then click again. This will create a right view. Okay, now you can click on the arch again and then move the mouse up, and this will create a top view. Okay, and then you can click on the arch again and move out to the right, and it will create an isometric view. And there we go. This is our multi-view drawing of the arch. Okay, now if I want to add dimensions to this, because having the multi-view drawing is one thing, but we also need to dimension it as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the dimension button, which is this button right here, dimension. And I'm going to think about this. I have two features in this case. I have the block itself is a feature, and the semicircle that got cut out is also a feature. So I need to make sure that I dimension both of those things. And I think I may be able to do that with just the bottom two. I'm going to try it. So I'm going to click the dimension line, and very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the width of the object. So I'm going to click, and I'm going to move move the number to the center, and then click again. So the way that worked, and then it's going to give you a whole bunch of options. None of these matter to us. Just go ahead and hit enter. Okay, so we clicked dimension, then we clicked the left side, then we click the right side, and we drag the dimension out. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm still in dimension mode. There's a dark gray box out here, so I'm still going to be in dimension mode. I am going to get the height of the object, and I'm going to put the height of the object on this side. So I'm going to click on the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to click one more time. Okay, so I clicked the top and bottom, and then one more. Let's see here. For the next part, the depth of the object I can get by clicking the left and the right of the object. And I'm going to put that 1.25 right there. Okay, so for the block, I've got the width, the depth, and the height of the object already put in. Now I need to, and for the hole, the semicircle, it looks like the semicircle goes all the way through. So this 1.25, it's going to work as well. Okay, and from here, we're going to plot the radius. So I'm going to hit dimension, and then I'm just going to click on this arch. And from there, it should be able to give me the radius of the object. So I'm going to click, and I'm going to make sure that I move my number out here to get a leader line. And I'm going to click again, and that's going to give me my radius of 0.750. So I should have all my information. The only other thing that I would like to have in this case is I would really like to have the hidden line that goes through here. So I'm going to look for ways to find the hidden line. Maybe if I click show the shaded view, that might not be exactly what I want. Oh, no, that gives me the entire solid object. I'm going to hide the shaded view. I don't want to do that. Okay, there should be a way to find the hidden lines, and when I find the way to find the hidden lines, I will show you guys in another video. For right now, even though I would really like this line to be here, I'm not entirely sure where to put it yet because I don't know what button to press. So we'll figure that one out in a different video. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.